Angelina Jolie has made some shocking new allegations against Brad Pitt. In new court documents, the actress alleges Pitt choked one of the couple's children and struck another in the face.
Brad Pitt might be one of the most sought-after actors of all time, but beneath the surface, he's a jerk.
I mean, you don't think that way. You have no idea going into it. You're just trying to make the damn thing work.
But he's not the only celebrity who's taken that dreaded path. Before I start, apologies in advance if this video offends any fan base. You see, the devil works hard, but celebrity PRs work harder. It's not unusual. All relationships have ups and downs, especially in Hollywood, but Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's saga is fascinating. Remember the scandal when they got together while Pitt was still married to Jennifer Aniston? Yet for over a decade, Brangelina seemed rock solid, or at least on the surface. When Jolie filed for divorce from Pitt in 2016, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood and reignited Team Jen on social media. In their 12 years together, they had weathered scandals, health scares, and the chaos of raising 6 kids. So what could have finally been the breaking point? Mr. and Mrs. Smith got married in August 2014. The couple wed at their stunning estate in Chateau Miraval in France, with all 6 of their children involved in the ceremony. Maddox and Pax walked their mom down the aisle. Zahara and Vivian were flower girls, and Shiloh and Knox were ring bearers, but soon there was trouble in paradise. They announced their split in 2016, just 2 years after tying the knot in Miraval, where they also ran a successful vineyard. Since then, it's been a whirlwind of allegations of abuse, claims of forced NDAs, a revolving door of lawyers, and more than a little crying over spilt rosé. The FBI and the Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services confirmed they were investigating Brad for alleged child abuse after an incident on the family's private jet. An anonymous tipster accused the actor of getting physical with one of his kids. This took place in September 2016 when the family was flying from France to California. Angelina's court filing states that Pitt choked one of the children and struck another in the face, and grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her, adding that at one point, he poured beer on Jolie, at another he poured beer and red wine on the children. Federal authorities who have jurisdiction over flights investigated the incident but declined to bring criminal charges. Days after the plane trip, Miss Jolie filed for divorce. And get this, it wasn't Jolie who called the cops on Pitt, it was a member of the private jet crew. Now, for all the skeptics out there who think Jolie is making this up, why would a complete stranger risk getting involved unless they saw something seriously wrong? A third party was so freaked out by Pitt's behavior that they rang up law enforcement before the plane even touched down. Funny how Pitt's defenders like to gloss over that inconvenient little detail, isn't it? Angelina Jolie's legal team alleged in a court filing in 2022 that Brad Pitt's physical abuse began even before the altercation between them and their children on a plane in September 2016. The filing also includes the claim: while Pitt's history of physical abuse of Jolie started well before the family's September 2016 plane trip from France to Los Angeles, this flight marked the first time he turned his physical abuse on the children as well. Jolie then immediately left him. In 2022, Pitt filed a lawsuit against Jolie, accusing her of violating contractual rights after she sold her half of Chateau Miraval without his knowledge. Jolie's lawyers claimed in the countersuit that talks with Pitt's team about selling her share of the company fell apart when he allegedly demanded she sign a non-disclosure agreement, which would have barred her from speaking outside of court about Pitt's physical and emotional abuse of her and their children. Now that's just horrible, isn't it? The court dealings clearly show that he was dragging this out in an obsessive and abusive manner. Angelina and her children deserve peace. I hope hearing from the children will make a difference in the public eye. Unfortunately, there will always be people who defend a violent man, no matter the circumstances. But sometimes, not always, but sometimes, a child's first-hand account of what they experienced can lead to real change. In 2020, posting a picture of Brad at the Oscars, Pax said, "Happy Father's Day to this world-class. You may tell yourself in the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday. So happy Father's Day, you fucking awful human being." A child, now adult, who actually lived with Brad and Angelina and went through the events we only have a rough outline of, is being really clear about Brad. Sure, all the folks who love Fight Club think they understand Brad on a spiritual level, but I'm betting Pax has so much more insight. Moreover, it recently came to light that two of the couple's kids, Shiloh and Vivienne, have dropped Pitt's name from their surnames. According to court documents snagged by TMZ, Shiloh officially requested to change her name from Shiloh Jolie Pitt to Shiloh Jolie on her 18th birthday. Elsewhere, in the playbill for Vivienne's new Broadway musical, The Outsiders, produced by Angelina Jolie, the teenage production assistant, is listed as Vivienne Jolie instead of Vivienne Jolie Pitt, according to People magazine. According to a source who spoke with Us Weekly in their latest issue, the children have had trouble forgiving and connecting with their father after his split with Jolie. So he's a terrible father too. His own kids hate him. Recently in June, Pop Tings reported that Tom Cruise was crushing on Angelina Jolie. Netizens have not taken kindly to this. Most of them directed their rage towards Tom Cruise and asked, "Hasn't she been through enough?" Someone also said, "If there's one thing that woman does not need after everything, it's a Scientology weirdo with an uncanny valley smile squeezing his way in." This brings me to the next celeb on my list today.
Here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
The Mission Impossible star, Tom Cruise, is one of Hollywood's highest paid actors and has been in the industry for over 40 years. Over the years, he's attracted his fair share of controversial headlines. Cruise has consistently stayed in the spotlight thanks to multiple controversies. From jumping on Oprah Winfrey's couch to the recent audio leak where he was heard yelling at his staffers on the set of his next Mission Impossible movie, to his former manager's statement accusing him of having a terrible temper, Cruise has always had stories swirling around him. As he continues to make films, his outrageous behavior has often overshadowed his long-spanning career. He is most infamous for being the poster boy of the Church of Scientology. The core belief is that a human is an immortal spiritual being called a thetan that is just a resident in a physical body, so essentially we rent, not own, our bodies. He is believed to be treated in an almost godlike way, which further fuels his narcissism.
You're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us! Because they believe in us and what we're doing! I'm on the phone with every studio at night!
You can read the Vanity Fair article published in 2012 titled, "What Katie Didn't Know," which portrays a damning characterization of the narcissistic, sociopathic actor. Tom Cruise chose a woman, manipulated her to break up with her boyfriend, and forced her into a relationship with him. Cruise essentially kidnapped this woman, watched her 24/7, and wouldn't let her talk to her mom, who was also a Scientologist. He made her dye her hair, shave down her teeth, and then, when he was done, he discarded her and subjected her to manual labor for the church. So in September 2004, Tom Cruise expressed frustration about his difficulty finding a girlfriend to David Miscavige, the chief of the Church of Scientology, during the opening of the Madrid Scientology Center. Miscavige, known for catering to Cruise's desires, had previously removed obstacles such as Cruise's ex-wife Nicole Kidman and ex-girlfriend Penelope Cruz from his life, labeling Kidman a suppressive person, SP, a term used for perceived enemies of Scientology. Kidman and Cruz were both deemed unsuitable for Cruise due to their lack of commitment to Scientology. Kidman was particularly targeted as a threat to Cruise's spiritual well-being, leading to their divorce and their adopted children being taught to identify suppressive persons. Cruise, who followed Buddhist beliefs, was dismissed by Miscavige as a dilettante. Tired of these issues affecting his personal life, Cruise sought a devout Scientologist partner. This led to an elaborate auditioning process to find him a beautiful, true believer who would accept Miscavige's significant influence in the relationship. In the fall of 2004, the search for Tom Cruise's next partner was not yielding results. Dozens of Scientology members were auditioned, but deemed unsuitable. Cruise himself couldn't convince several well-known actresses, including Sofia Vergara and Scarlett Johansson, to embrace Scientology. Eventually, screeners at the Scientology headquarters identified Nazanin Boniadi, a beautiful, petite Iranian-born woman in her mid-20s who seemed perfect. She was a dedicated Scientologist with a degree in biological sciences and plans for medical school, but she had a boyfriend. In October 2004, Boniadi was summoned to the Celebrity Center International in Hollywood, where she met high-ranking Scientologist Greg Wilhere. He told her she had been chosen for a secret mission involving meeting dignitaries worldwide. This began a month-long preparation process that included daily auditing sessions where Boniadi revealed her innermost secrets, including details of her sex life. She was told to remove her braces and dye her hair one color to emphasize her ethnicity despite needing the braces for another 6 months. Additionally, she was pressured to end her relationship with her boyfriend, with whom she had been eagerly anticipating an engagement. According to several sources, the degree of control Boniadi was subjected to by Cruz and Scientology was mind-boggling. For the first 3 weeks, she was isolated and not allowed to communicate with anyone. Despite her parents' deep concern, she was only permitted to tell them she was in New York on a special Scientology project, never that she was with Cruz. Cruz's hairstylist, Chris McMillan, was brought in to work on her hair, and according to sources, Cruz even wanted Boniadi's incisor teeth filed down. See, the church can be blamed for a lot of it, but at the end of the day, he treated the woman like Patrick Bateman would. But wait, there's more. In 1999, Tom Cruise appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman and shared a shocking story about a flight to Colorado. Cruise, his co-pilot, and the passengers were using oxygen masks due to the high altitude. Realizing there wasn't enough oxygen for everyone to stay alert, Cruise recounted how he and his co-pilot decided to disconnect a passenger's oxygen mask so they could continue the journey. This led to Cruise and the audience bursting into laughter. As Cruise continued the story, he described how the passengers passed out due to the lack of oxygen, which made Letterman visibly uncomfortable.
You know, it wasn't dangerous or anything, you know.
No, what happened when you turned his oxygen off?
He was very quiet. He felt.
Letterman was left perplexed. And what was Cruise's response?
He said, my hands are tingling. I said, no. I said, must have been the way I was laying.
There was also this time when in May 2005, he slammed actress Brooke Shields for using antidepressants, calling her irresponsible for discussing it in her memoir, Down Came the Rain. In her book, Shields shared how antidepressants helped her overcome postpartum depression after the birth of her daughter Rowan in 2003. In response to Cruise's criticism, Shields retorted that Cruise should stick to saving the world from aliens. And she said some more.
You know, he just gave people a reason to support me more. So in a way, I felt kind of more sorry for that because it backfired, you know.
But that wasn't the end of it. The controversy escalated when journalist Matt Lauer asked Cruise about his views on antidepressants during an interview on Today. The discussion became heated as Cruise claimed there is no such thing as a chemical imbalance and argued that these medications worsen the problem rather than solve it. He insisted that exercise and vitamins were better solutions for curing depression and accused Lauer of being glib during the interview. In an op-ed in the New York Times, Shields responded by calling Cruise's comments a disservice to mothers everywhere. But she wasn't about to let the negativity bring her down.
Hey, you made a mistake, but I was able to kind of profit from it. Maybe I wouldn't have ever written an op-ed piece. Who knows? Maybe the New York Times wouldn't have asked me.
More power to you, Brooke. Moving on to the next celebrity on my list, Jeremy Renner, famous among MCU fans as Hawkeye. Like many stars, Jeremy also has faced his fair share of skeletons in the closet. The bitter feud between Jeremy Renner and his ex-wife, Sonny Pacheco, came to the public eye a couple of years ago and has remained a persistent issue. The marriage between Jeremy Renner and Sonny Pacheco blazed brightly and fizzled out throughout 2014. They wedded in January and filed for divorce in December, citing irreconcilable differences. Renner and Pacheco share a daughter, Ava, who has been at the center of their ongoing conflict. the custody battle has escalated dramatically. In 2019, Sonny Pacheco filed custody documents accusing Jeremy Renner of attempting to kill her and himself. Allegations also surfaced of Renner's substance abuse and irresponsible parenting during his time with Ava. TMZ obtained court documents detailing these accusations. His ex-wife also accused him of biting their daughter's ears. Yeah, but it is about to get more cringe. According to TMZ, he allegedly sent explicit photos to the custody evaluator. Pacheco also alleged that Renner repeatedly fell behind on child support payments, totaling over $500,000 despite his substantial earnings from the Avengers franchise. And then there's another violent incident he was involved in. The story of Jeremy Renner allegedly placing a loaded gun in his mouth came from Lily Fajay, a former friend and artist, who spoke exclusively to In Touch in June 2020. Fajay claimed that an intoxicated Renner retrieved a gun from a safe, cocked it, and waved it around in distress before threatening to take his own life by putting the barrel in his mouth. The presence of Ava's nanny startled Renner, prompting him to fire the gun into the ceiling. Eventually, Fajay managed to calm Renner down and persuaded him to set the gun aside. The incident left Fajay deeply disturbed, causing her to suffer from nightmares for years. In another controversy, he called Scarlett Johansson's character a whore. Hawkeye and Black Widow share a close friendship in the MCU, but that didn't prevent Jeremy Renner from making derogatory remarks about Black Widow's character. Up next, one of the most unexpected entries on my list today, Ashton Kutcher. In 2023, he and his wife, Mila Kunis, made headlines around the globe after writing letters in defense of convicted rapist and former co-star Danny Masterson. When the public learned what the couple had done, they were, of course, put under the microscope. Eventually, they made a video to apologize. However, Ashton Kutcher's past actions have come under the spotlight, and not all of them are squeaky clean. Controversial actions have resurfaced, from creepy comments to questionable behavior. Viewers branded an old video of a 25-year-old Ashton as creepy when they saw him talking about actress Hilary Duff becoming the legal age of consent. People who watched the video branded his words as gross and sinister. What's more is that, by wearing makeup and pretending to have an Indian accent, Kutcher was called a racist for dressing up as a Bollywood producer for a Pop Chips advert. In the ad, the 2 and a Half Men star played a character named Raj, talking about his dating virtues in a sing-song accent with his face painted brown. Pop Chips were not mentioned at any point. After the video was slammed by the Indian American community, it was eventually pulled. Moving on to the next one on my list, it's Nepo baby Emma Roberts. She's known for being nasty and rude in most public interactions, but she gained notoriety for domestic abuse. After meeting on the set of Adult World, Emma and Evan Peters started dating in 2012. They got engaged after a year, but things took a dark turn in 2013 when Emma was arrested on domestic violence charges after a fight with Peters. The incident happened in Montreal, Quebec, where authorities were called to their hotel room and found Peters with visible injuries. He declined to press charges, and Emma was released a few hours later. In September 2023, Angelica Ross accused Emma Roberts of being transphobic during their time working together on American Horror Story. Ross alleged that Roberts misgendered her, mocked her voice, and played mind games with everybody on set. After Ross went public with her experience, Roberts reached out and apologized. While the exact words of Roberts' apology weren't disclosed, Ross expressed her gratitude on X, formerly known as Twitter, thanking Roberts for acknowledging her inappropriate behavior. However, Roberts has remained silent about the incident and hasn't issued a public apology to the transgender community. She hasn't outlined any specific actions or plans either to demonstrate her promised support for social justice causes. Aside from the abuse allegations, this Redditor opened up that their friend's mom, who's worked with Emma a few times, never had a nice thing to say about her. She apparently throws trash at crew members to toss for her, stays in her trailer for hours holding up filming without apologizing, and cusses out other cast members for messing up a take or flubbing a line. A lot of folks have shared similar experiences. Overall, it seems like she's just not a kind person. Another user who worked as a server mentioned that she was consistently rude to them for days on end. And one of her tour guides had a similar nightmarish experience. That persona she puts out on TV must be for real because that's exactly how she was. On a busy day at a bookstore with a big line of customers, she marched right to the front of the line and slammed her book on the counter, like really slammed it down. When turned down in the kindest way possible, Kathy Griffin made an audible huff like she couldn't believe she was being treated that way and stormed off. Another user shared their experience with none other than Jim Carrey. Back in the day, they volunteered for this charity gig. Fresh off mask, Jim Carrey rolls in, acting like a total jerk to everyone. When the event kicked off, they were half expecting him to still be a pain, but bam, dude flips a switch, turns into Jim Carrey mode, and totally wows the crowd. But as soon as he steps off stage, he was back to being a pain in the ass again. Well, sometimes stardom brings the worst out of people, but what do you think? Which Hollywood actor do you think is an absolute jerk? Don't forget to let me know in the comments and I will make sure to feature them in an upcoming video. Until then, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you want to watch something crazier, don't forget to check out this next video right here. It's even crazier